2nd of December. I hope we're all doing extremely well. Scott's first one in the chat, as always, my friend, says yes, JB. Yes, Scotty, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. A legend of the chat is Scott, as he's always here. This is the United Devil channel with me, JB, of course, and let me know how you are. Get into this amazing community. This is a fantastic community. Look, get in there. I'll always say this, I think this is one of the best communities, not because it's on this channel. FNO, you've had a shave? Yes, I did. I went in, had a bit of a shower, went in, had a shave. I know it's like a different face, isn't it? The old grey beard has gone, the sort of hobo look has gone. Not that there's anything wrong with hobos. If you're the hobo, welcome to the chat. But look, get in there with your chats, get in there with your opinion. Be respectful. We don't mind banter. Be respectful to the community. Be respectful to each other. Be respectful to the moderators. If you're not, the ban hammer comes out and we don't get blamed. You get yourself banned. We don't like doing it, but ultimately we will. Especially if you look 6 years younger. Thanks, mate. I've got one of those faces. People want to hear. No, I've got one of those faces that when I shave, I just look completely different. The other thing to say is that I'm not a dictator of this chat. This camera. This is your channel. So the reason why it takes so long is because I really do read out all of your chats. Just out of respect. If I do kind of come back in an opinion, it's not because I'm disrespecting the opinion. It's just because ultimately the best thing that it should be doing is it should be sparking opinion and it should be sparking the chat. The best thing that we can do is have a debate, not a debate en masse, but have a debate. As Scott says, same when I have a shave, I look different as well. Yeah, I look younger and fresh faced instantaneously. So look, we did a show this afternoon. Get in there. I want to know your comments. I want to know what you think about the game on Thursday. Give me your opinions. Give me your opinions on I've seen tonight. Anderson, we're going to apparently make a cheeky bid, a big exactly Scott. A debater on mass. When you mass and you debate, something that definitely shouldn't be done in mass. So yeah, look, get in your opinions tonight. We can go over old ground. Xerxes, Edison, Gallagher, Mainu, if you want to talk about Mainu stuff tonight. Romano again talking about Anana going, which is amazing. Scott said, yeah, 5-4. The league this year is absolutely crazy, right? The league this year is absolutely mental. 5-4, and maybe we've got to think about, actually, are we doing, and this is a question I actually wanted to bring out there tonight, and Scott, mate, please, this is all thanks to your comment there. Is this right? Are we doing well on the basis that this league is so inconsistent, this league is so you don't know, it's such an unpredictable league this season? Are we actually doing pretty well? Spurs and Newcastle was 0-0. And this is one of the questions that I wanted to bring into the show tonight, is when we stop and look at this, right, it's ridiculously competitive. Are we actually doing quite well? Is it a case of we're actually playing bad? I think we are. But is it a case of, look, this is a ridiculously competitive league this year? I don't know. And that's just a question that I wanted to bring into the show, just to sort of ask, do we think that this is a league unlike any year? The only other year that this reminds me of is probably the Leicester City year. Let's get into it. Scott says we definitely need a win on Thursday, pick up more points than Spurs. And that's exactly, and look, this is where we'll start off tonight. We will get into that as we always do. We'll look at the history of the meetings. We'll look at West Ham. We'll look at their style of play. As we do, we always talk about it. Last 4 or 5 games we've spoke about this. Liam says, "Is it just me the stream's glitching for?" It looks okay to me. I've got it up on my studio. It looks okay to me. So Scott, let me know, but it does actually look okay from my end. I don't know. I think YouTube's been doing one of those things today, which is not being my friend. So just to have a little look. If results go away, we could get top four depending on the goal difference. Yes, Scott, let us know. Is this are we is this a glitch tonight for you as well, Scott? Because I mean, I've got it on my studio, but it looks like it's okay for me. But yes, Scott, just give us a shout, mate, if it's glitching, because I don't know. Fingers crossed, it's not. So let's get into it tonight. Give me your opinions on the game. I want to know what you think about the Palace game. You know, we can put it to bed, but again, I think it is a bit glitchy. That's weird, because it looks okay on mine. It looks okay on my end. It really does. Like I'm looking at it now, and I think YouTube is having one of those days. So look, keep me if it becomes unwatchable. Let me know. But yeah, I will. In fact, let me have a little look. It stutters and then comes back on again. Let me have a little look. Because my end it's saying that it's okay. I will just check as well. Honestly, I don't even know what happens sometimes. Let's change it over. Let's do it. Do it on this one. Right. Let's have a little look. I'm just checking. The picture quality is fine. It must just be a connection issue. It's weird. It's weird. I'm just gonna watch myself for a second. That's weird. Okay, so I'm just so I can see what you're talking about. It seems to be okay, but we'll see. Picture quality is fine. It's weird. It's weird. Anyway, yeah. So keep me in the loop. Surprisingly, my end it looks alright. So we'll see. So look, let's get on. Yes, yeah. Let's get on to the game. So West Ham. Look, from what I've seen of the Hammers this year, and I watched the Chelsea game. I watched some of the Arsenal game as well. It was Arsenal, and there are glimpses. There are parts in games where where West Ham actually look pretty decent. Now, West Ham have lost Paquetá. Since I've mentioned it, it seems to be up. There you go, Liam. Liam, the curse of the curse of the comments, right, my friend? No, but look, just let me know, and I'll try to do what I can. Pull up the table and see what we can. Okay, cool. Yes. So this is the beauty of this channel. We can do things live, right? So let me call it up. All right. Okay. So let's get on to everything, and we'll go through it all, and we'll look at the table, and we'll do all of that good stuff. So, let's look at the standings. So, let's look at the standings. So, current table at the moment, if anyone obviously cares. So we've got Arsenal on 30, City on 28. So clearly, those two are the favourites right now. So we've got Brighton on 22. Aston Villa on 24, Chelsea on 24, United on 21, Liverpool 21. Now, West Ham, if we beat West Ham, what are we difference? 1. Aston Villa difference is 5. So our goal difference is 1. So if we would have to win 4-0, I think we'd have to win 5-0 to be 4th. So if we're looking at the goal difference, and then it goes on matches won, doesn't it? And matches drawn. So if we were to say if we were to win 4-0, and Villa didn't win, well, it would put us on the same goal difference as Villa. But they would, I think, be 4th on the virtue that they've won more games and they've won more games. So really, for us to go 4th, we need Aston Villa, Brighton, Sunderland to probably all lose, and we need to win 5-0. But irrespective, if we win, we would absolutely either keep pace or be up there completely. So, as you say, Scott, this is, again, we've been presented with an opportunity here again to keep up with this top 4. We've been given this opportunity again. Now, Palace, and again, I'm not gonna try to refer back to that. Maybe I will when we talk about the Xerxes thing, right? But look, right now I think this league is ridiculously competitive. Crystal Palace is one of those games whereby, if we want to finish top 4, those are the games that we've got to win. And again, we've got this opportunity right now to put us right into the mix. And the question is, can we? Is this something that we can do? Now, let's talk about before we do that. Let's talk about the fixtures as well. Here you go. Night fixtures as well. So we've got West Ham away. So we've got West Ham. We've got West Ham at home. Yeah, we've got West Ham at home. Then we've got Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Aston Villa away. So I think we've got a fantastic opportunity here in these next 3 games. I think Villa's going to be very, 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 very difficult, by the way. Newcastle will be difficult as well because it's on Boxing Day. We are at home. Newcastle have been playing some fantastic stuff. So I think you're right, Scott. As long as we keep up with and Scott, you're right. I said this, right? I will not acknowledge a top 4 race until we get through these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So until we get through these next 8 games, I will not acknowledge a top 4 race. Now, if by January the 7th, so the game before City, if we can be in that top 4 mix by then even I will have to say, look, we are in a top 4 race. But it's consistency, right? And until we can beat the likes of West Ham, until we can beat, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, we should be getting 9 points. And I agree, Scott. We should get at least 9. If we could get 10, I think that puts us right in the mix. But what we've got to do it, and again, as much as I didn't like certain parts of the Crystal Palace game, I didn't, right? But I can't deny we saw something second half. Again, I'm still not having that we came out and it was all of our own endeavour. It wasn't. I think Crystal Palace had their part to play in terms of, I don't think that they were tired. Let's not pretend. As fans, we can all get carried away and said, we beat them and they lost, and then we can almost gloss over the cold hard facts, right? But it doesn't take away the fact that we didn't capitulate. Irrespective of whether Crystal Palace played well or not, we still had to come out and we still had to do something, right? Xerxes, as much as he gets criticised. Dino, Payne, hi Mucker, everything. Yeah, Dino, mate, I am doing awesome, and I hope you are as well, my friend. I'm loving all the love, my friend. Glory to Man United, as always. So, let's not pretend that we were perfect, but look, we won, and that's history. Look, the only reason why we or I go on and I go back, right, is because it's this is a show, and this is what I do, right? We go back, we analyze the games, and we talk about it, right? But ultimately, history-wise, when we go back on it, history will say that we beat Crystal Palace. History is not going to care about Xerxes and if he was playing crap or if he's not played, and that's ultimately what it's about. So the fact that we won, I think that's a huge win for us. And West Ham is a must, and I know every game keeps saying it is a must win, but for me, this is an opportunity for us to really go, look, we are here. We are here to stay. We are going to keep up with this top 4 race. And actually, do you know what? We have got an opportunity here. If we get through these next 8 games and we're roughly in this top 4 race, at that point, I will absolutely say, look, I now think that possibly we're in a top 4 race. I will shift my opinion. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Big up to JB. Hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. So it's Dino is in the house as well, guys. The band is getting back together. So I think that if we get through these next 8 games and we're roughly in that mix, I then amend my 8 to 10, so my 8 to 12 to maybe we go, maybe I then we go from maybe fourth to 6th. But this is another, look, we after the way we've played, right, do we deserve an opportunity to be in this top 4 debate? It's difficult. It's difficult to say because it's look, Fulham 4, Man City 5. Look, this league is so competitive. The Pivot Bros, the band is back together. The Pivot Bros are back together. So right now, it's such a topsy-turvy league that I think if we're in the mix, I do think some teams will start to back away, right? Or they'll stop. They will. So it's up to the best of the rest. Like I think Arsenal and City. I did say this at the start of the season. Don't sleep on Manchester City because they if they go on a run. I think City this season so far have gone underneath the radar, which sounds a bit mad, but they've sort of gone underneath the radar a bit because they've not really played particularly well. They're winning games, and it's all about Arsenal, right? But City are starting to build up steam. So, and as we all know, Arsenal are the bottlers extreme. So let's see. So look, let's get into it. Let's talk about the game. I want to know your opinions. I want to know your opinion on this first, right? And please, because my eye's going to twitch. Luke Shaw. So there was a report today from Luckhurst, I think it was, basically saying that there are some sources around United are baffled by why Luke Shaw is not in the England team. Just debate that out. I want you just to mull it over that there are some in the United camp who are baffled by the fact that Luke Shaw is not in the England team, and this has been put. This is out there, by the way. This is somebody has put pen to paper. Somebody has typed this up. I can't even pronounce the whole thing, so I'm going to call you JD. Hi, my friend. So somebody's actually typed the words Luke Shaw United are baffled why Luke Shaw is not in the England team. Go and figure that out if you can, because I have no idea who would put that out there. This guy says Shaw shouldn't go nowhere near England squad. Agree. It is baffling as to why somebody would be baffled as to why Luke Shaw is not in the England squad. I think it would be pretty fucking obvious as to why Luke Shaw is not in the England squad, because there are a number of people who are better than Luke Shaw. So, So look, let's talk about stats. So historically, United have 74 wins against West Ham. Versus West Ham's 50 wins and 32 draws in 156 meetings between the two. On form, we've done okay. We've won or drawn 6 of the last 7 matches. Both teams tend to produce goals, so many of the recent matches got over 2.5 goals for both teams. West Ham's season has been inconsistent, and these are 2 points that I wanted to make about West Ham. I think they're defensively very, very fragile and really quite leaky. So which we saw that. I saw that against Arsenal, Chelsea as well. Evra, Ferdinand, Vidic, Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Ronaldo, Louis Saha, Rooney, Van der Sar, Tevez, Carrick. What can I say about those players? Other than Tevez, Tevez was a fantastic player, but I can't have Tevez. But anything else, mate, I love that. I love those names. Those names are perfect, my friend. So I think one of the things that I think we need to do, and I think one of the things that we should do again, being at home to West Ham. West Ham are very, very leaky. Paquetá is not playing. Tevez the rat exactly didn't look. It's so sad about Tevez, because he was part of that front three that were amazing, but he did probably one of the rattiest things I've ever seen. So Tevez for me can. So we should be winning this match. Let's be clear on this, right? I'm not saying we should win because I think West Ham are a bad team. We should be winning this match. Let's not be hiding away from the responsibilities of this team, because I don't want to give them an excuse. Liam says no. Sorry, this is off topic. Liam, do not apologise, my friend. We love a different topic of conversation. English commentary regarding Jack Grealish is absurd. The guy had a decent game and scored a goal while slipping, and the ball took a huge deflection. But listen to the commentators. You would think he's on course for the back. And Liam, this is the bias that we see. This is the English bias that we see. Right, in this country, we are biased towards English players. And again, it is exclusively English players. It's not British players. It is English players. If you look at the way they talk about, they've spoken about England players through the years. Every single player is going to be the next big thing, right? It's a. I get it. I do get it. But at the same time, there's this again, and we wonder why, Liam, and mate, I think you make a fantastic point, right? And you wonder why we have such extreme views in this country, right? And the reason why I say it is because, so if you look at it, right, most people don't watch every single game, right? There are loads of countries around the world where people don't have access to it. There are loads of people in this country that don't. So what happens is that they look at the stats from games. They read what the papers are saying. They read what channels are saying, or they listen to what the channels are saying, and they don't have that. They don't have the ability to sit there and watch games, right? Because I'll give you one of the big ones, Forest game, right? If you look at how we played in that game and you look at those stats, I was talking to somebody on here actually, and they were talking about the stats, and they were saying, oh, you know, we had all these chances and we had all these stats, and we had 60% possession, we had 24 shots on goal, right? If you look at stats, and I'll always prefix stats with stats can tell you different things, right? But also you can manipulate stats to whatever you want to say, right? If you didn't see that match, you would assume that we should have won the match. We've been unlucky. But if you watch the game, and this is what I'm saying about players as well, you know, if you listen to the media, you know, you think, as you just said there, you know, you think these players are world-class players. You know, these players should have, you know, they score a goal and they're literally like the next big thing, right? And this is part of the problem, is that fans now have such this shift from game to game, even from hour to hour, about players, because there's this rhetoric of media out there. You know, even on some of the biggest channels, I'm not going to mention names, even some of the biggest papers, even some of the biggest online stuff. If you look from one video to the next, from one headline to the next headline, everything is so extreme, and everything is the same thing, but their points are so left or right to the extreme that you never get a balanced view. So, and as Dina says there, you know, media hype is real. No, it is. It really is. Scott says it's like the Figo from Barcelona to Madrid. It's why players' potential is rare, because the media hype is building them up to something that they're not. Exactly, Dina. To watch football these days is, mate, it really is. It really is. You know, I mean, I'm fortunate that I'm in a position that, you know, I do subscribe to the majority of the channels. But the most frustrating thing, right, is this, right? Is that most of the games are on, say, Sky, or most of the games are, you know, but you might have one game that's on, for example, like a TNT, right? And you've got to pay 30 quid, you know, for the one game, or there might be 3 games on there, but unless you pay the money, you can't pay per game. So yeah, it is an absolute craziness. Dina says the clickbait stand. I mean, you know, you guys know, don't you? The Inspector Gadget stand. Liam says agreed, in this current social media climate, hyperbole is the currency, and you're right, mate. It literally is. You know, it is. Currency is basically trying to get as many views, and it doesn't matter. You know, we don't get as many views on here because, you know, I don't deal in extremities. Maradona says, just a question here, why are you so shit? I don't know, mate. Look, that's your opinion. I'm going to say to you, that's one strike. As I would always say on here, banter is absolutely fine. We don't mind the banter. I'll always give you a chance. I will always give you one chance, right? I read out your comments. So if you weren't expecting me to read out your comment, I do, because I give you that respect, right? I treat you like you've come to my house, right? If you come to my house, I'm going to give you that respect, right? This is what it's like here. You're coming into our house. You're coming to my house. You're coming into the chat's house. If you come into my house, I'll give you respect, right? I expect that back. If you don't give me that respect, I'll give you one chance and then you're gone. So this is your opportunity to backtrack. And if you want to enter into decent chat, you know, do it. If not, if you're here to be a prick, you know where the door is. If you don't like me, the door's there, my friend. You know. So look, let's get into this, right? So we know the lineups for us. Cunha is back. Palace edits, my friend, absolute legend of this chat as well. Hope you're doing extremely well. I hope you've got over. Hope you got over the loss, my friend. You know, because, you know, there was a little bit of banter, mate. You know, yeah, there was no party for Palace. You know, there was just no party. So, you know, I'm not going to apologise, but you know. So look, let's go through West Ham's team. Let's go probably what they're going to say. Liam says, I can only speak for myself, but I think channels use their brain and Regional Boston will end up gaining bigger followings. And Liam, you know, I do. And I'm not saying that that's what we do on here. I think we're coming to a precipice now of people don't want extreme anymore, right? I think it's, you know, people like to be entertained, but I also think people consume more. I think people are intelligent, not everybody, but I think that people just want, you know, they want an honest view, and you know, you guys I think on here do bring that. I think we all bring something to this chat, and I think that we the good thing about the reason why I like this is because this platform now has come to a point whereby we've all got different opinions, and yeah, we I think we cater for a lot of people. So you know, hopefully, you know, that channels like this, more so because of this community, right? This is what, you know, I think is absolutely the best thing, is that we don't do extremities on here. We absolutely try to be as logical. Again, I do encourage some of you guys to be as positive as you can. You know, if you guys think we're going to win the league, fantastic. If you think we're going to do top 4, fantastic, right? I don't deal in ways like that. I deal in logic and what I think is right. Sometimes I'm wrong, but look, I do think that is where we that is where we are. Palace is a legend. We listen, we don't judge. Amorim. Mitch, welcome, my friend, legend of this chat now, as well. I think we have to listen. I think in life, I think one of the most important things to do is to listen. I also think sometimes it's really important to talk. I think there's a saying that says evil men or good men, sometimes they don't do anything at all. So sometimes, you know, you can be a good man, but if you stand back, or a good girl, but if you stand back and do nothing at all, then you're just as bad. And why I bring that in is because, look, we need to listen to each other. We need to listen to Amorim, but we also need to speak out. You know, whether or not people listen to that view, I think it's important to speak out as well. So look, I'm not saying that we need to judge him, but I think we absolutely need to debate different things, because if we don't, and we let Amorim get away with certain things, how does he learn? You know, why should we accept some of the things that he does when, as fans, we know? I think we know better. I'm not saying that we know every single thing, and from a coaching perspective, you know, he knows more than we do, right? But in terms of players, and in terms of, you know, we know this club, we know this side, we know these players, we've watched these players for many years. So I think it needs to go the both ways. I think we need to listen to him. Kobe Mainoo, for example, you know, as much as some of you don't want Kobe Mainoo to leave, and to go back to that comment and said we listen to him and we don't judge. Kobe Mainoo, Amorim doesn't want him. You know, it's clear. You know, so today, you know, basically, I think Fabrizio, Whitwell was basically saying, Milo says hello Milo. Mitch says maybe he needs some advice from Allegri. Maybe, look, do you know what? You know, Amorim is still a young coach, right? Amorim is a young guy. He needs that experience, and I actually don't disagree with that statement. You know, maybe Amorim does need a bit of advice. Amrin is learning the hard way, and I think sometimes you can't be too proud to maybe pick someone else's brain, but I don't think he will. So we will come back onto Manu in a bit. So let's just get through this West Ham stuff, and then we'll go back to it. Liam says fans should never be ashamed to voice their opinions. For example, there's a reason blue chip companies employ people to take an overview. I'm on 105 subs and my videos are cooking. Marlo, well done, my friend. I hope you get hundreds of thousands of views, my friend, and subs. Mate, all I can say to you is I know how difficult this is. It is really, really difficult. So look, the fact you got 105 and your videos are cooking, mate. Fingers crossed for you, buddy. I hope you get millions of subscribers. Ali says, good evening. Good evening, my friend. Maybe he should get a blower to Sir Alex Ferguson and pick his brain. Scott, I would do that. If I was him, I'd even go and speak to Ten Hag. And I know you might think, and I'm not saying go to Ten Hag to get advice on like how to coach. I just think that he should go to Ten Hag and say, look, what are some of the things? Ranić as well. Go and speak to some of these guys and say, look, I want to know what you experienced, and if it's in line with some of the things that he's experiencing. You know, I don't understand why coaches don't give each other a call on the slide. I know it's pride and ego, but you know. So Liam, and you do make a fantastic point as always, my friend. So look. Let's get to it. So West Ham, they play a 4-2-3-1. Areola in goal, probably Wan-Bissaka, Mavpanos, Tadibo, Diouf. Maybe a double pivot. They do like a double pivot. So not only do we play a pivot, but they play a double pivot. They've got double pivot time. But they've got so Bowen, and again, you know, I do think that West Ham do lack, I think, a little bit of firepower up front. Lewis Paquetá is out of the game. So you know, when we're talking about, you know, I think key players in this game, so Bowen for West Ham is going to be key, right? I think for West Ham, I think his movement, his pace, his threat, he's got a good ability to break the lines as well. So I do think that he could get some joy. I think that if he gets space, I think he'll have joy down one of those sides. And I think depending on where he plays, now I think he shifts around a bit. If he targets, if we're not having a good night, he can. And this is one of our major flaws, and I talk about this every single game. Is that gap between the centre backs and the wing backs. So I think he could get some joy down there. I think the only thing for West Ham is the outlet. So when he runs into the channels, who have West Ham really got in there? Wilson. You know, I would hate to think that a Callum, like a Wilson at that age, you know, is gonna do us any sort of harm. You never know. Premier League proven striker. Premier League, I think he's one of those strikers who is a bit wily, right? He's a bit older. You know, he knows how to ruffle centre backs. So, you know, I think his endeavour will be good. But I'm not saying that West Ham are blunt, but I'm genuinely saying that I do think that we should have too much, and the fact that Paquetá is not playing. Set pieces, I think West Ham could get joy at set pieces. I think this season set pieces play an absolute huge part in games. You know, I'm hoping that our players are switched on for this game. I wonder if Yoro will actually play. I think he will. Will Martinez be back? Now, the funny thing, this always cracks me up, right? This always makes me laugh. So Martinez was actually back in the last game, and a couple of weeks ago, right? He just I commented on this at the time. There were so many channels going, the Butcher's back. The Butcher is back. He's back in the squad. He's training. The Butcher's back. He's gonna be transformative in this team. The Butcher is back. Six weeks later, he made a cameo. So look, I'll say this now. The Butcher is back, right? But he needs the game time. You know, if people think that Xerxes is rusty and needs some more game time, and bearing in mind he's pretty much been fit for most of the season, what do they think that he needs? So Martinez, hopefully, look, if we can be getting a 3-1, a 3-0 lead, and we're comfortable in this game, not that we ever are, by the way, I'd like to get him some minutes. If we can get him some minutes, you know, I'd like to think Lacey could get. Like, one of the things I want to see in this game, if possible, we are at home, and I'm not going to disrespect the Hammers. LFC20 says Liverpool, welcome, my friend. Liverpool fans are always welcome here. We have some amazing Liverpool fans on here. Utter respect. You only get respect from me on here. Obviously, until the banter goes too far. But look, we don't mind banter. And absolutely, we Scott laughs at Liverpool, but it all comes from a good place. So I think Cunha is going to be important. I really, really hope he plays. And I think Cunha could be a really pivotal player in. Thank you so much. I thought I would have got a shout. No. Look, this is one thing on this channel we don't do, right? I read out your comments, complete respect, my friend. And look, banter is welcome. That should be the whole point of these channels, right? Is we don't mind banter. You know, what's the point? What's the point in supporting your club, right? If you can't have banter, right? That's what makes the games good, right? So look, fantastic. Let me go through some of these chats, and then we'll go on through again. We have to beat West Ham. Yes, we do. Congratulations. Keep up the grind. Yes, keep up the grind, my friend. 105 subs is nothing to be sniffed at. I'm not a fan of United, but United and friends of AC Chelsea are my two favourite Prem teams. Scott says, I hope the Butcher gets more game time. The same here. We should win comfortably 3-0, says original Pro Master, legend of the channel. We should win comfortably 3-0, therefore it will be 1-1. Logically, mate, I love it. Scott says, I'll say it now, 3-1. Mitch says, I think a solid 1-0. Tiger King says, someone tell me why this player is allowed to play for City. He gets my blood boiling. Matthias Nunes. He's allowed, mate. He's allowed. Martinez probably will be a sub 60-65 minutes. Someone LFC, thank you so much, mate. You don't need to thank me at all, mate. As long as you are respectful, it is all good. All good. Liam says, I totally concur. The idea that Luch is physically fit, not match fit, means automatically pushes Short out the team is a bit silly. I think we need at least 6 weeks. Yes. Tripod FC. I met Vidic in Malta. Nice. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, Vidic, so Rio to me, I'm not Rio's biggest fan, right? But I do like the way when he talks to ex-players, right? What I like is I don't necessarily like old players for the punditry, right? Neville, I just can't stand him anyway, right? But when you get players like Rooney, and you've even got Roy Keane, and then you've got Dennis. So they're like overlap, right? Mostly can't stand it, but when you've got Solskjaer on there, Irwin on there, and they're talking to Keane, the bit of that I like, and I just tend to watch the clips, is that I love it when they talk about how they used to room together, those playing days, and you can really see, like, people like Keane, right? And when he's talking to like Irwin, you can really see that bond. You can really see, the sort of humanity of them as people and as players. So Rio, for me, look, I'm not as a pundit, fine, but when he talks to Vidic, Rooney about those days, like I am so hooked, because it's just such an insight into the managers, into the players, into the things that they do. And Vidic, that tell that he said, so they were doing this thing together on Rio's podcast, and I didn't mention this as well. And he basically said that when he came to the club, like after he trained, like he would go and try to find people. You'd have Rooney kicking balls. Giggsy was doing his missus' mum or something. Rio was in the gym, and he'd be saying like, "Look at me, I'm just really, really skinny." But the point of that was like, he got so ingrained in the culture, had so many mentors, that he was able to become the player that he was. So I do love those stories. Get Manu back in the team, says Leo. Look, I'll pause the West Ham bit for now. Look, it has come out today, Leo. Basically, this has been confirmed. I think it was by, well, I think Romano mentioned it as well. Look, Kobe Manu's gone. He doesn't want him. And I think that's a sad truth that we've got to accept, is that has Cunha scored a goal yet? I think Cunha has scored a goal. Yes, Cunha has scored a goal yet. I was going to ask you if Isaac scored a goal, but he scored one goal, didn't he? He scored one goal on the last game. Bro got his signature and picture. I mean, I would frame that picture, and I would definitely put the signature next to the picture. Look, I think when it comes to Kobe Mainu, I think it's this. I think we need to accept, as a fan base, that Kobe Mainu at the moment is not in Amorim's plans. So whether that puts you off of Amorim, whether that makes you respect him or not, Amorim has come to the decision that Kobe Mainu is just not part of his plans. And it's difficult. It's a really difficult one for me, because in one part, I think to myself, Kobe Mainu had that fantastic season. I actually think that season he got Ten Hag out of Stutt. The FA Cup was fantastic. He went to England. So look, there is a player there. There is absolutely a player there. Last season, I think there were some injuries. Now, what I think people need to accept or sort of understand, with young players, their form can dip up and down, right? I just don't think that Amorim wants him in his system. I just don't think that Amorim likes him in his system. I actually don't think there's a place for Kobe Mainu in this system. Is Kobe Mainu a number 10? I don't think he is. I think Kobe Mainu is a bit of a hybrid player. I think Kobe Mainu is a luxury player, right? I think he's that player that you have. Let's just say you've got a really good 6, and maybe a really good 8 as well, and you play that sort of 4-4-3, 3-1, and you have Kobe Mainu in the top of that midfield 3. I think Kobe right now is a bit of a luxury player. I say it, but I don't actually know what Kobe Mainu is, because he's so young. He could be anything he wants to. Could he actually be a box-to-box? I don't think he is now. Doesn't mean he can't be. So I'm just of this opinion, is look, if I don't think and this is not because I'm going to say that opinion is wrong, but for me, this makes sense to me, right? I don't see how I can back an Amorim, and this is me personally. I don't see how I can back the manager wanting to stay, wanting to get his team, because I do. I back him. I want him to give him time. I want him to get his players. But if I'm prepared to do that, I also have to be prepared to listen and say, if Kobbie Mainoo is not in his plans, then Kobbie Mainoo will have to go. Now, if it comes back to bite him on the arse, it's not going to come back to bite me in the arse. It's going to come back to bite the club on the arse, right? So I think that if Amorim has decided that Kobbie Mainoo is not part of his plans, let him go and play. Let this young, talented kid, who clearly is, right, let him go and play football for somebody. He deserves to go and play football. He is a young lad. He's done nothing wrong. I think he's been very, very professional. I don't know about his agent. I'm not really hearing too many things, but I think he's for such a young lad. I think he's being professional. I do think he trains. I just don't think he's in Amorim's plan. So, in my opinion, and I can't be a hypocrite here, I like him. I think he could be a star. But is this English media bias? If we're not going to play him, let him go and ply his trade elsewhere. And if he becomes one of the best players in England, becomes one of the best players in the world, then that's a swill that Amorim will have that's a pill Amorim's going to have to take down. That will be a consequence that Ineos will have to take. So if you're like myself and you're like, well, actually, I think Kobbie Mainoo probably does need to go if he's not going to get played. My conscience is clear, right? Because I want this kid to play, and whether he plays for us or whether he plays for somebody else, this talented kid can't be held back just in case. So I think that Amorim needs to pull on his big boy pants, and this club needs to pull on their big boy pants and go, look, we're gonna take it. If he becomes world class again, if he becomes like a world class player, then you're gonna have to hold your hands up and say, we didn't use this player. It's on us. So I think that's sort of where we are with that. I hope Amorim gets to stay for 5 or 6 more years. Got a message for the man on the screen, a question: what is the nickname for the United before the Red Devils? Newton Heath, yeah, it was. I like your setup in the background. Yeah, I mean, look, I could do a horizontal screen, right? And I can do it, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to get as many views. So I am going to start to do it as well. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It could be better though. I subbed you. Thank you, my friend. Look, LFC20, mate, I appreciate it. And look, thank you for being here. Thank you for being respectful to the chat as well, my friend. The reverence they have for each other is very cool. Got a message, yeah. The heathens then, that's the other one. What is Google? No, I didn't knew it was Newton Heath from All the Heathens. What are you talking about? We're losing out on a gem with Kobbie and Leo, mate. We've this is the thing, isn't it? We could be Leo. I think you make a good point, but it's almost a bit like this, right? If you've got a gem and you've got a really precious stone, right, and it sparkles and this amazing thing, and when you pull it out, people stop and stare and go, wow, that's fantastic. But if you put it away in a box, nobody sees it, what's the point in sort of having it? A diamond is never gonna lose value, right? But if that diamond then gets, it gets dirty and old, and it gets forgotten about, right? Kobbie Mainoo he needs to be out in the open. He needs to be allowed to flourish. He needs to be allowed to figure out what the hell he is. Like there is a talent there, right? But I can't honestly say in good conscience, and I don't really think that you guys could really tell me. I don't think you could tell me conclusively what Kobe Manu is, because I think Kobe Manu can be anything he wants to be. I don't think he's a 6. You could argue he could be an 8, he could be a 10. I think he needs that time and he needs that encouragement to figure out what he is. And then, Dina says, Amas staying at Wednesday. Yeah, look, Dina, I think Amas staying at Wednesday is a fantastic thing. I think it shows. I've seen him play a couple of times. I think this is the best thing for him. I don't want to bring him back just yet. I don't want to bring him back just yet. I think him staying at Wednesday is going to do him the power of good. Playing at Hillsborough, playing like Sheffield Wednesday. People that don't necessarily, are not aware of these sort of championship teams and the old Premier League teams of the past. Sheffield Wednesday is a huge club. It is a massive club. So I think him going there, having that fan base and that expectation, it's not a united expectation. And of course, there is an expectation with every club. But Wednesday, is one of those really, good, big clubs. I think it's fantastic. Even though I don't support United, Kobe used to be my favourite player in the Premier League. How I hear what you're saying to a degree, but a player of that ability can never be considered a luxury player. Look, Liam, look, I get it. I do get it. The reason really why predominantly I say that he's a luxury player is because I don't know what he is, right? If he was like, if it was, and the reason why I don't know what he is I think because it's a failure on the club, right? If let's just say you said to him, I'm going to make you a 10, I'm going to make you an 8, and he's the most hardest working, vital component in that team, then he's not a luxury player, right? But right now, because I can't see it, because I don't see it, I almost think, well, is he a hard-working number 8? I don't know. Is he a 10? I don't know. So it's almost a bit like, because I don't know and I can't see it, I almost think he's a bit of a luxury player, because I don't know if he can be a hard-working 8. I don't know if he can be a 10. I think for me, the Grimsby game has probably clouded me. I think the Grimsby game, I can only go on the kind of last thing that I've seen about him. And the Grimsby game, I think he had an audition and I think he failed. And, I hope he becomes this pivotal, whatever he is, a 10 and 8. I hope he becomes this pivotal player, because I really like Kobe Manu. I really do. We can talk about players all day long, right? I like Kobe Manu. I really like him. He's just a young kid who I think is just, again, are we going to let another young kid slip through the net? Are we going to let another young kid potentially, who could be anything he wants to be, or we're going to let him go? And I think it's a failure on the club that I don't know what Kobe Manu is. I've got an idea about what I think he is, but I just don't know. Leo says he's done. Kobe just either isn't rated or doesn't fit into Amorim's plans. The good old days are coming back. When's the first pivot corner chat happening? Look, we will come on to that. I'll go through some more of the West Ham stuff, and then we can talk about the pivot. Liam says a loan is obvious option for Kobe. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, I agree with you. I think a loan would be a fantastic option. I think what a loan does is it almost Manu at that point, Liam, and I think you're spot on. Right? I don't want to sell him yet. I think what we need to do is, let's be clever, right? Let's loan him out, give him a run of games. Look, what I think Kobe needs is, I don't think he needs to go to a big side. I think if he can go to a West Ham, if he can go to an Everton. He can, maybe you want him to go somewhere a little bit more competitive, or a Crystal Palace, and you want him to go there and shine. If he can do that, then Amorim, and he sticks his fingers up to Amorim and go, look, this is what I'm about. You want to look, because to be fair to Kobe Mainoo, I think Kobe Mainoo wants to go either. I don't think he does. So you've got a player that doesn't want to go. You've got a player who's got bags of potential, who's already shown a glimmer of potential, and a manager that I don't think he knows what Kobe Mainoo is. So look, as Liam says that, I hope we go for a loan. I hope he shows what he's about. If not, the worst is going to happen. Liam said, I missed Wednesday. I missed the Wednesday derbies, yes. I think 1-0 to West Ham. Wave Cutter legend. I think 1-0 win at the West Ham, like 2013 and 2022. 1-0 win versus Stratford. He's not in his plans. Will he push for a loan? I think he will. Who are we talking about? Mason or Mainoo gone? We're talking about Kobe, my friend. We have the best individual player in the league. They just need to click as a team, or Kobe is a 10 clinical. He needs to play more than 30 minutes. We're gonna tan West Ham. God, look, mate, I'm loving it. Thank you for the comments, my friend. If Kobe leaves, I'll feel ashamed. I'll feel ashamed. Look, gone. I think it's a very good point. How many of these players are we going to let go? How many of these players are we going to fail? And as much as I blame these players, I don't like this crop of players, we still fail players. I think we fail players as well. So I think we have this right now. I think we have this mess. We've got this spaghetti mess of players like the down tools, managers that I don't think pick the right players. Amorim, as much as I support him, Favourites FC is alive and well. We don't know how to use our youth. If Kobe Mainoo leaves, as long as he's on loan, then that's fine. If Kobe Mainoo leaves and goes on to be one of the best players, then this club needs to hang his head in shame. Stewie says, United. Kobe has a Palace written all over him. Are you a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal? No, I am not. I am awful Arnie impression there. PS3. The Terminator is one of my favourite films of all time. Terminator 2 is one of the best films ever made. Fantastic film. Mainoo should go to Man City. Jesus. Kobe will leave and do what Palmer did to City fans. Scott thinks he's fishing for a cucumber. Maybe. Another factor with Kobe situation is he hasn't signed a new contract, unless I'm mistaken. 18 months ago now the new, yeah, and again, Liam, I think that's a very, very good factor to bring into this as well, is that we either, when it comes to the summer, we either sell, and if he's not, look, if Mainoo doesn't play, he's never signing a new contract. Mainoo to City will fill Pep's mould of passing accuracy and the way to pass. No Vaseline, good taste in footy teams and films. Exactly. Terminator 2 is the best film ever made. Is Save It Private. Look, that film is fantastic. I do like it. For me, one of my favourite films of all time is Pulp Fiction. I think that's probably up there. T2 is I knew this reason why I liked you. Thanks, mate. Terminator 2 is absolute just fantastic. That is James Cameron at his best. I'd have to say Aliens. So Alien is a good film. Aliens is peak. I love. You can tell my era, right? Shawshank, yeah, Shawshank Redemption is a great film. Schindler's List, I mean, can't we say that that's a good film, right? Great Escape. I'm more of a sci-fi guy. I used to watch a bunch of films. I'm always into films, but Pulp Fiction, anything Quentin Tarantino I think they're fantastic. Aliens, T2. There's so many. The Matrix, the first one. Anything Star Trek, Star Wars, but only episode 4, 5, and 6. Gunn says Aliens and Predator. Yeah, Predator 1 is good. You shouldn't be allowed to advance youth players and leave them on the bench. He's a proven player even for England. And look, Gon, you've again, you make a fantastic point. I can't argue with that. I don't know what's happened. I think Amorim is just, good evening to you. I just got on after tuning into the Fulham match. Thank you, Simon. Legend, of course you are. Thank you so much, my friend. The Green Mawi's up there as well. The Green Man, the Green Mawi's is it's a fantastic film. I'm not going to lie. I think I probably cried. I do think I probably cried. Clockwork Orange. Yeah, that is that's a very strange film. That one. I think, is that Stanley Kubrick? I think Stanley Kubrick is that. Scott, I prefer Chocolate Orange. Yeah, it's that. Is it? No, it's not Terence Stamp, is it? It's I can never remember the guy's name, but I'm sure it's a Stanley Kubrick. It's a very good film. It's a good film. Goodfellas, The Lord of the Rings, two are the best in the world. See, now because I'm a little bit older. Lord of the Rings, don't get me wrong, I do like The Lord of the Rings. I'm not a massive fan of The Lord of the Rings. The Godfather Part 1 and Part 2, absolutely amazing. Robert De Niro actually learnt Sicilian for Part 2. The Godfather, Casino, or Goodfella. Right, so Godfather for me is number one. I think only bettered by Godfather Part 2, but the Godfather for me. Then I would go. See, I love Casino. I don't know. Star Wars original, yes, 100%. Episode 4, 5, and 6, absolute classic. I would go, Dino, I'd go Godfather. I'd probably go Casino second. It'd be close. Yeah, I think I'd go Godfather, Casino, and then Goodfellas. Interesting fact, right, is that Joe Pesci, right? So he's the little dude, right? He's in Casino, the Goodfellas as well, and he's an absolute psycho, isn't he? Right? He does all sorts of stuff, right? Absolutely known for those roles. So straight after, I think it was the Goodfellas film, he actually went on to do like Home Alone. So he pretty much went from being like a hard-nosed gangster type to being the criminal in Home Alone. Casino is so Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, guys. You're busting out the films tonight. You really are. Die Hard is not better than Lord of the Rings. Lethal Weapon is quality. Gone in 60 seconds. Yeah, good film. Nicolas Cage, Wash Her Chops, Angelina, blah blah. Yeah, good film. So let's get on. Scott is confirmed that Die Hard is not a Christmas film. I always think of it as a Christmas film, even though it's not. Speed. Speed was a banger. Yes, look, Speed should not work. Seven is a good film. If you've not seen Seven, go and watch Seven, because the ending of Seven is brilliant. The ending of Seven is brilliant. The Sixth Sense as well. The end of I wanted to see the Sixth Sense, right? I avoided Hot Tub Time Machine. I avoided people, right? I wanted to see the end of, I wanted to see the Sixth Sense, and I avoided people. So I thought, right, I'm gonna wait for it to come out on video or DVD, right? And I waited for it, right? I got it, and then my mother comes in and she tells me the end of it. I'm like, you and I are no longer friends. Stranger Things is what it's about. Yeah, I don't mind Stranger Things. It's pretty good. I used to grab all these from the charity shop, as I was not born when they come out. Thanks, mate. Thanks, buddy. Raymond Lando says, hi, mate. Hi, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. Now, Gone, you've made me feel super old, mate. I was born in 1983, so all the classic films, pretty much I was there for. It's true that Rashi returned and plea. Yeah, so Simon, I'll get onto that, and then I'll go back onto the West Ham game, right? And this has been put out there, I think, by Fabrizio, basically saying that Barcelona are not going to buy Rashford. They're basically going to send him back. So it would appear that the Barcelona tack was basically to get Rashford as cheap as they possibly can. You know, we've got to factor in the wages as well. So at present, it looks like Rashford is coming back. Look, is it a problem? The problem is the length of contract. I don't think that there'd be a lack of people who would want him on loan. I think we're going to get to a point whereby Marcus Rashford is going to go on loan again. I think we may have to accept a cut price deal. The wages are the biggest stumbling block for me. You know, again, I think Rashford is probably worth 40 million. You know, but again, it's the wage. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did a cut price deal. So for Barcelona to take him, I would. Right now he's coming back. This is the Romano news, and is right now it looks like he is going to come back. But I would say watch it. I think that Rashford doesn't want to come back. Barcelona, I do think, want him, but I don't think they want to pay the price. Also, I think one of the things we have to factor in here as well is this. Rashford is playing well now. He's got back into the England squad. I'm sure it was Fabrizio. I might be wrong, because he's come out with so many different things today. It was either Barcelona made the statement itself, or Fabrizio made the statement on behalf of them. So it was one of those two, I think. So one of the things that we need to consider as well is that next summer is the World Cup, right? Rashford's stock could hopefully be high. The only problem is if it's not a World Cup year, it's not a European year, these players are not going to have anything to fight for. And what I mean by that is that playing for your club should be enough of a reason to fight, right? We know these players need to be incentivized. So Luke Shaw's going to fall off a cliff. Luke Shaw might not, because Luke Shaw actually needs to play for a new contract, which he's not going to get. And Rashford has got Rashford's contract, I think, is until 2028. So Rashford could happily come back and sit on his contract and say, I've got no World Cup to play for. You know, why do I want to go? So look, hopefully this is just a play by Barcelona to basically get a price that they want. You know, they don't want to pay the 40 million. I think the contractual price is, I think, 27. So I think they're trying to get that down to 23. So, I'm sort of hoping that there can still be a deal to be done. But at the moment, it looks like Rashford is coming back. Let me go through some of the chats as well. PSG, I think, is where Rashford will go. Dino, I think that could be a good option. We have Shesko, so we don't need Rashi. Wide buy, shop, sold goods. We want to focus on the future and not get past players. He won't be the same. Look, we're not going to play Rashford. Rashford may come back, but he's not going to play him. Rashford doesn't want to come back. I don't think we want him either. So there's going to have to be some sort of movement there. Gon says, can we play him as a number 9? Look, you could try him in 9. He's not a 9. We tried him as a 9 before. He's not a 9. He's a wide player. He's a wide player. I think he's more of a left forward. I would describe him more as a left forward. He's not a left winger. I think he's more of a left forward. I don't think he'd work as a 9. I don't think he's smart enough. I don't think he's big enough. I don't think he's smart enough. I think we need a proper number 9. I would love to see Rashi go to Bayern instead. JB, have you seen The Gladiator, the underground boxing? Yes, I have. Gladiator, yes, is that with Cuba Gooding Jr. or Denzel Washington, I think. Rashi's past could come back to haunt him. I wouldn't mind Ramos and Rashi to come back. Sorry, Rasmus and Rasmus could come back as well. There is an option to buy. I don't think there's an obligation to buy. I think there's an option to buy. Will Amorim allow Rashford to train with any of the squads while he gets his moves? Possibly. Look, possibly. Right. Look, I think that, is there any harm in a player coming back? Is there any harm in a player coming back and training with this team? No. I've got, look, if Rashford was to come back, right, and he basically had become mature, and he basically said, look, guys, I want to come back. I'm going to be a different player. I'm going to prove to you. And he proves to this club, and he proves to Amorim. Can he get the fans back on side? I think he would. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Liam says, I could be wrong, but a cursory look on Twitter is showing anything saying Barca are not prepared to purchase Rashford. Rash is part of the bomb squad. We had to take a while to get rid of him. Yes, I wouldn't allow it. He's toxic. And the bomb squad, Garner was the most toxic little prat. Him and Sancho. Rashford is a true red like Manuan. Agreed with you. So look, let's go again. I want to go through the West Ham stuff, and the reason why I do is because we talk about this. We sort of almost predict how they play, right? And most of the time we are right. So let's get through this. So how do they play under their coach? So Sperante, that's his name, isn't it? Oh, Nuno. I can't even pronounce his bloody name now. So look, he is very, very defensive. I think they will play a very, very low block. I think they're going to play a low block. Since he's been at West Ham, I think he's looked for defensive stability. Defensive stability and organisation, which I don't always think they are, but I think that's what they're trying to do. I think the West Ham will play a low block and look to break on the counter. They play a 4-2-3-1. Off the ball, they do tend to sit deeper. They try to be compact and they try to restrict space. So basically what it means is that we're going to have to go wide. Now, whilst West Ham are stable-ish, well-organised, well-drilled, they're not very attack-heavy, but they do like to keep their space. So what they're basically going to do is they're going to basically sit in. I think they're going to have a low block. Exactly, Liam. I think it will be defensive first, and I think it will be a low block. I just think through the middle, I don't think we're going to have much joy. But to be honest with you, our game isn't through the middle as of now. We don't go through the middle. So I think that forcing us wide, I think will play into our hands a bit. So I think we'll get plenty of joy down the wings. Now, where West Ham may get joy out of us is it depends on which side comes out, right? So they will play through the centre. They will try not to let us break the lines. They'll have a good midfield in there. They'll have a good solid midfield, and they will try to break on us. So I think we'll play quite a high line. We'll try to break that low block. We can't break a low block. That's my biggest concern in this match is can we break that low block? Now, I've seen West Ham against Chelsea, Arsenal as well. They play okay for half an hour, and then as soon as they concede that first goal, West Ham crumble. Paquetá isn't playing. Cunha is back, and I think Cunha with the ball. I think one of the worst things that we can do against this low block is again keep passing into trying to cross that ball, right? I think yes, cross the ball, but mix it up. And I think Cunha is perfect in this game. We need players who will drive at them. We need players who are prepared to get the ball and drive at this low block. So I think again, I hope Amorim Cunha plays, and then I hope that we kind of hopefully put. I hope Everton. I hope we've learned from that game, as Liam says there. The issue is that precisely the style of Everton and Moyes, and that is exactly it. You know, they are going to be. I think Everton, though. I think that they are better than West Ham. I do. I think they got a slightly better team, but as you say, right, it's going to be a low block. You know, can we finally break a low block? Is Amorim gonna have the keys to break that low block? Now, the only caveat to that will be is if we play such a high line, and we do tend to get tired around 60 minutes. Are West Ham going to have that chance? So if West Ham score first, then it's basically going to be they're going to defend their life. And again, we could have a very, very similar situation, as Simon says there, whereby if West Ham score first, look, you know, West Ham don't even need to really play particularly well. They could get corners, free kicks, and I think those set pieces could be the thing, right? So all they've got to do is score one of those and sit in, and then say to us, we know you can't break down a low block, and you've got to come at us. So I think this is where we need to score the first goal. I think scoring the first goal is going to be absolutely pivotal for us. So West Ham as well. So once they're in possession, they do transition. I don't think they transition particularly well. Again, very, very, very much like Liam has said, Everton based. Right? They basically just try to break forward fast. You know, they know they play with that really, really low block. Movement is important. Quick passing. So Bowen will get that, but I think he's very, very wily. I think he's very, very clever. But what he does is with his pace and I think his cleverness, he'll bring other people into the game as well. So we have to really, really be careful of that counter. Fullbacks as well. Wan-Bissaka on that side is great. Is it Cresswell on the other side? I can't remember now. Is it Juff or whatever plays on that side? And I think the wing backs, again, I think they've got good wing backs for an outlet. As we know, Wan-Bissaka can tackle. He's not bad at going forward either. He's not the best. So I think that, look, I think West Ham are gonna come to play. I think he's gonna basically try to low block, come out really, really quickly, use those wing backs as a way to get out, and then look to exploit that. Maybe Callum Wilson maybe plays, and maybe he's that hold up man. Maybe Fulcrook plays potentially, because a target man, able to get it up to him, hold the players off, and then bring, because they do break fast. I don't, with all that said, I don't think West Ham are necessarily great. I think that we could. I think that we actually can. I actually think that we can exploit that. So when they break, I think that, because I don't think it's going to be. I think Casemiro will get joy. I think if we can break up that play, I think we can exploit their transition. If they don't transition well, I think we can absolutely, with the front, with them, well, probably the front 2 or 3 that we've got, I think we can be very, very quick. And I think that we can get behind that low block, particularly in their transition. And it depends on how disciplined they are with that low block and keeping that shape. I think if West Ham don't keep that shape, I think we can exploit that as well. So look, I just think that what we know is very much like Moyes, as Liam says there. It's very much going to be the same thing, that they don't care if we've got the ball. They're going to look to exploit us on the break. They're going to look to be well organised. They're going to look to be compact. They're going to look to break. They're going to use their wing backs to try to break it and get the ball up. So Bowen is an absolute nightmare at times. And again, I think this low block, I think we're not going to have any problem getting the ball. I think where we're going to struggle is getting behind them. And I think Amorim has to come up with a way to beat the low block. And let's see. So I think this has got Everton vibes written all over this game again. I just hope that Amorim can come up. And again, look, this game is an opportunity to put the Everton loss to bed. If Amorim doesn't, and we lose again, because as we know, we don't know what team is going to turn up. This is another opportunity, another opportunity for us. So look, give me your opinions. What do you think the score's going to be? I'll get into your chats as well. Please let me know what your opinions are, and we'll and I'll go through some of the other stuff today as well. I'll quickly go back over that as well. So get into it. So let's go through some more of your chats. West Ham always score the first goal against us. Check my comment. I said that also. Everton had 1-0 tonight. Palace score first, but they lost. So I think it could happen with West Ham. Time to burst the bubbles. I've got my fantasy lament. Ahmad, Brian, I expect 3-0. I have to play against Basaka again. I think our score will be 3-1. A possible 4th place is up for grabs if we win. Palace thought they could beat us again. I'd love to see our lineup. So look, what do I think that the score is going to be? Oh, blimey. I don't know. The honest answer is this. I don't know. What do I think? Now, the biggest problem for me is I don't trust these players. And I'm going to say it. I don't trust these players. I just don't. Scott says 3-1. It's going to be interesting to see Amorim's selection tomorrow. Right, so I'm going to tell you his team tomorrow. Right, it's not going to be interesting, Dino, at all. It's going to be the low. It will be Ahmad on the right. It will be Yoro, Delict, Luke Shaw, Dorgu, Casemiro, Bruno, Cunha, like Mason Mount, Mbeumo, and Cunha. That is what he's going to play tomorrow. I'll be stunned if he plays anything else. I'll be absolutely stunned if he plays anything else. JB says I'm made in all guns and roses. Only because Appetite for Destruction is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I'd go with Guns N' Roses. I kind of lean more to that rather than and Iron Maiden. But look, for me, Appetite for Destruction is probably one of the best albums of all time. So, and also I do love Axel's voice as well. So, so what do I think the score's going to be? Scott says, "Ew, unsub." Sorry, mate. What do I think? I really don't know. I'll tell you. I can't predict. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tell you what I think it should be. Right? I think it should be a win. I think it's going to be a 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be I don't know. I really don't know. Guns N' Roses for Sweet Child of Mine was played at and makes Freeman some more of a connection to them. Yeah, Dino, I wondered where you was going to go with that one then, mate. But no, that's a yeah. I mean, there are songs that get played at, that sort of stuff, and then when you sort of like hear them back, it just brings you right back to that as well, doesn't it? I mean, there are some songs now that are being played that I can't hear again, because they remind you of some traumatic times. So I don't know. I cannot predict. I can't. So I'll tell you what I think should happen. So what should happen is this. It's not going to be an easy game. Dina says, I know, a serious comment. I think, knowing this league for how it is this season, I think we win, but it's going to be another hard-fought win. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think, West Ham could score first. I think what it could be is it could be like a sucker punch, and then we're all on stream going, "Oh, this is terrible. Oh, Xerxes terrible. Oh, this is rubbish. This is shit. Oh, this is crap." And then we do what we did against Palace. So I'm gonna say we should win. And I think it's going to be another hard-earned victory. Like, I'm going to do a watch-along for the match. I just want to do a match where I'm going, like Xerxes playing really well. Mason Mount is doing some good stuff. Luke Shaw's playing well. Like, I just want one of those streams where we have an easy game. And it's no disrespects. JB, Dragon Force or Slayer? Slayer for me. Slayer for me. I just want one of those games where it's easy. I long for a Brighton game without the 2 goals being conceded. Let me look. So, Dino's saying, JB, with how the league is shaping up, do you think the 3 promoted teams stay up this season? So let's take a look, right? Wolves are on Jesus. So Wolves are on 2 points. Now we've got Wolves. We need to fucking beat them. Slayer or Megadeth. Oh, bloody Megadeth, mate. That has to be Megadeth. So Wolves, are on 2 points. Wolves are down. I mean, they're not coming back from that. Burnley are on 10. Leeds are on 11. West Ham are on 11. Forest are on 12. Fulham are on 17. I think it's going to be one of Wolves, Burnley, Leeds. West Ham might be pulled into it. West Ham have got form. West Ham have got form for going down. I don't think Forest will get dragged into it. Forest are on 12. I think they should have enough. I think at the moment, you've got to look at form, and I think Wolves, Megadeth Force, Sabbath. It's got to be Sabbath, isn't it? It's got to be Sabbath. Wolves, Burnley. I think I would have been inclined, Dino, to go for Wolves, Burnley, and then one of Leeds or West Ham. I think sort of that, Wolves are down. I think, unless it's going to be the great escape, I just don't see it. So I think Wolves are down. Sunderland, I think, are going to be fine. Yeah, blow your bubbles in the Championship. West Ham have got form for it. So I got, but Leeds have as well. So I do think it's going to be one of Wolves, Burnley, Leeds, or West Ham. The only trouble I would say for Forest is if they don't start accumulating points, it's really easy to get pulled into that race as well. So, Forest are 5 points off. Sabbath or Motley Crue. Sabbath for me. Never a fan of Motley Crue. Sabbath for me, my friend. I was never a fan of Wash His Chops, of the drummer who was who's married to Pamela. Oh, what's his name? He's going to Tommy Lee. There you go. So yeah, I think Wolves, Burnley, and then one of Leeds, West Ham. Forest could get pulled into it as well. So I do think Wolves, Burnley for me. Sunderland, I hope Sunderland have a continue as they are, because I think that they're doing fantastic stuff. What's the other thing I wanted to talk about? I think we've spoken about Kobe Mainu. Onana, this has been confirmed by Fabrizio that Onana is gone. Onana's not coming back. Whatever happens, Onana's done at this club. So I'm really, really happy about that. Anderson, I mean, look, Sabbath or ZZ Top. ZZ Top, man. Now you're talking. Jesus. See, look, I Sabbath, I prefer them. ZZ Top are a bit more, yeah. I like ZZ Top. Absolute fantastic. But I'd have to say Black Sabbath for me still. So let's talk about, before I go, let's quickly talk about Anderson. That hard one for you, JB. Well, it is only because ZZ Top is a bit of that cheesy sort of thing. And I don't mind a bit of cheese. But Sabbath are, I'm not thinking about it because it's a bit like saying, who would you choose? Like, I don't know, Madrid or Swansea, right? I was born in Swansea, so but Real are it's no contest at all. But Swansea, are a little bit, they're even though I don't support Swansea. Sabbath or Van Halen? Again, it's a bit like, I like Sabbath. I think Sabbath are better. I think Sabbath are more iconic, but Van Halen, absolute. Again, the hair. What I liked about Ozzy and Sabbath. They were a bit raw, right? Absolutely raw, absolutely, just like one of a kind. At that time, just different, working class lads. Whereas Van Halen, all the hair, the gimmicks, the sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, I do like them, but I just prefer Sabbath just because they're just, they're just a real band, aren't they? So, what was I talking about? I can't remember what I was banging on. Okay, Anderson. The last thing I wanted to say was Anderson. Elliot Anderson, I've seen it today, regurgitated around. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, Eddie, yeah. I absolutely agree with you on that. Eddie Van Halen is the greatest guitarist. No. I mean, I think that Brian May would have a say in it as well. I think, what's his chops? Oh, for fuck's sake. What's his name from Slash? I do like Slash as well. But Anderson. So I've seen this going around today, and again, this regurgitated pile of shit. I've seen it today. Somebody sent me, because I called out the TUS. I get sent tons of stuff about all bits and pieces, right? And honestly, it just needs to stop. Sabbath or Judas Priest? Sabbath. I know. Again, I get loads of clips sent to me and all sorts of stuff. I actually now get quite hate now as well, but I don't really give a shit about that. But because I called them out, look, I'm not going to call anyone out tonight, but I've seen it. Elliot fucking Anderson. I mean, I've seen it tonight. I've seen clickbait out there going, we're going to put in a United record bid in for Anderson, in the next window of bloody Anthrax, bloody Sabbath, mate. Look, Elliot Anderson is not coming in the next window because he's already been told by the English manager that he needs to stay at Forest and he'll go to the World Cup. Forest are not going to sell. Forest know that there's a bidding war. There's going to be a bidding war unless we're prepared to stump up. And I'm gonna shut this down now, right? I'm going to shut this Anderson crap down now, right? They're going to want 120 million quid now because they know that in the summer, I know Elliot Anderson has a clause in his contract. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a bidding war, right? Anderson, if we want to sign him now, right? And Simon, exactly, right? People dislike the TUS as much as me. This is my community. And again, I don't watch it, but I get sent stuff all the time. I did do a short actually calling them out, But look, the clickbait, I know, I have seen some clickbait stuff on there, right? Alluding to the fact that he's going to come. He's not coming. I mean, we're not going to pay 120 million quid, 100. Look, we are a club who sacked half of its bloody workforce. One more. Sabbath or Pantera? Sabbath, mate. Sabbath. We are a club who sacks half of its workforce. Now, you can argue in some debates, maybe we needed to sort of retract a little bit. I get that, right? But we're also a club that is not, it doesn't give its staff free meals anymore, who are cutting costs, who are going down the back of the sofa to find a pound, right? We traditionally don't do anything in this window. We're not going to, I can't deal, and I'm not dealing, and I purposefully didn't put Anderson in this show today because I just think that it's absolutely nonsense, and I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to talk about it now because I want to put it to bed, because it is a load of bollocks. You know, we're not going to do it. And then the summertime comes round and he's going to have Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I wouldn't surprise Madrid. Like, he's going to have so many people, so many clubs, and we're going to be in that race. When do we win these races? You know, let's just say if we finish fifth, Motorhead or Def Leppard. Lemmy's a legend. Lemmy's a legend. So Motorhead for me, because Lemmy is a legend. So Motorhead for me. We're not going to go for him, because we're not going to win that race. When was the last time we actually won a race? Now, if we were to finish first, then yes. But we need exactly, Dino. I think Anderson will end up at City. He's got City written all over him. So I can't stand this. You know, I'm not going to call people out, but I'm calling out this Anderson crap. He's not signing. How many times are people now going to recycle this shit? Unless Ineos, Sabathor, Motorhead. Ooh, it's still going to be Sabbath. It's still going to be Sabbath for me. Lemmy is a drinking, smoking. His voice was amazing, but Sabbath for me. Yorrell was gonna true. That is true. But I don't think that. I mean, Yorrell, in my opinion, was an easier one to do, right? Because Madrid said, if you wait, come to us and we'll get you for cheaper. The reason why we got him was basically because we out-moneyed them. You know, we paid a premium to get the player. JB is a metalhead. I am full of surprises, my friend. I'm absolutely full of surprises. So Anderson's not coming. I can't, if I see any more clickbait, and look, unless Ineos surprise the world, which I don't think that they will. Anderson is done. Anderson is absolutely done. I'm also going to say Wharton as well. I think Liverpool, Wharton, they got Vert, but I think Wharton as well. I can tell you now what I think will happen. I think Baleba is the one that's coming in. Not in the next window. I think summer Baleba comes in because he's already said he wants to come to the club. There will be no competition for him, and those are the deals that we do. I think he will come in. Gomez may be the other one that comes in. I think the only one that we possibly do, Edison, as well. I did talk about Edison, and we can come on to that as well. I think Edison could be. I think Edison could be an option. I think Edison could be an option on the basis that it was put out there today by his agent that he could be available for as little as £26 million, between 26 and 32 million pounds. I think that would be a really, really interesting deal to do. Not a Premier League proven player. I think he's probably worth the season before 70 million or so. So look, I think the club still like him. I think he's still on that list. Gallagher. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. I think that Conor Gallagher is going to come in. Now look, £23 million. I don't think he's necessarily going to set the world alight. I think people are not going to be happy with that. I would probably say that, look, you know, Kobe Mainoo going on loan, Gallagher coming in, you know, but I'd rather Gallagher than zero. I've said this, I think it's Gallagher. I've always thought that. Gordon says, please no more rejects from Chelsea. Are we going to learn our lesson? I think he is. I think he is the one that comes in. I've been saying it. I've had a feeling. I think he is. I think he is the one that comes in. I do. Didn't Atleti say they didn't want to sell him anymore for whatever that means? So yes, true. But then it's come out today as well. Basically, they don't want him to go out on loan, but they would sell him for the right price. And I think the right price is around millions pounds. I think it's about 23. So I think it's a case of we don't want to sell him, but I think if the price is right, I think they would, and I think we would end up doing that deal. So I'm of the opinion. I think Liam is one of those where he's not for sale. I think that we're trying to do that deal. I'm convinced. I'm also convinced. I'm also not unconvinced that we don't do anything. I think that from what I've heard, again, it's always, and I'm gonna stand by this. It's either we're going to do a loan deal or some sort of cheap deal, and then we won't do anything else because it's going to be there's no value in the market. Look, the Glazers still pull the purse strings. Like let's be honest here, they own the club, they still pull the purse strings. It's going to be there's no value in the market again. So I don't think like we're going to get loads and loads of spin. If we want to finish top 4, we need to do something. So what right here and now, I think it's going to be the same old stuff. I want Ineos to show me and show you guys something different. I want them to show us something different. Prove me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right here. I'm just saying going based on experience, prove me wrong. Prove you wrong, prove us wrong that you're different to the Glazers. Go and get some players. It's like this, right? If you go and spend, I don't know, £80 million now, it's not all upfront, right? If you spend it and you secure Champions League, you're making that money back threefold. Not only are you going to get 100 million going into Champions League, you're going to get more sponsorships. You're going to get additional cash purely just by being there. You're going to get more sponsors. It makes sense. It makes sense to go and get those players now to make sure. And also as well, if you secure those players now and you get into the Champions League, guess what? You're going to be able to attract an Anderson. Not that he's coming. You'll be able to attract these sorts of players. So you have to speculate to accumulate. And if Ineos are serious about getting us back into the Champions League, they need to do it now. So let's go. What have I missed? Anderson is a grown man. Let him decide what club he really wants apart from us. Exactly. Look, Anderson knows. Anderson is not stupid. Anderson is a Geordie. He might even go back there. These fucking channels, right? And again, these channels, and I'm not just having a dig at them. These fucking channels, these clickbait smaller channels, these clickbait shorts, the media, like Anderson, I'll be fucking stunned, right? Anderson is not coming. Like it's just nonsense. Edison is better. Anderson is better than all the others we talk about. Is Bruno going to leave next year? I think if we're not in the Champions League, yes. I think if we are, I think he stays. Let's put Anderson in the history book. Simon, agreed. Now, after tonight, and unless he signs, I'm not. I do believe we will offer something for Anderson, but will be nowhere near the price. And Ineos will say tried. Is Rashford back? By all accounts, he's coming back. Is he back? Not yet. Let's see what happens on that. Certain players we tried to get failed. Isaac, Ekatike, Eze. Yep, exactly, Simon. I agree with you. Apart from Sancho and Garnacho on and off, look at our players we have sold. How gutting Gallagher is going to be part of our plays in. If Anderson appeared on bargain hunt, we still wouldn't buy him. I'll cry if Manuel leaves and Gallagher arrives. And that's it. It's going to cause debate. And Liam says, if we go back 9 months ago, we were told we had a maximum of 65 to spend in the summer. We ended up spending 200 million. I really don't know what to believe with our finances. And Liam, I think that's a very intelligent and very right comment to make, right? Is right now I can only go by what I know, right? So PSR, our maximum PSR that we can go to is 105 million, right? Our loss was 36 million, so we've got the headroom between 36 and 105, which is what, 60, 70, right? 71 million, right? So that's the headroom that we've got to spend, right? Obviously, the new squad cost rules come in next season, right? So we've only got 70 million pounds to spend. Now, what you hear people say as well is the squad cost rules will come in and you almost get a year's exempt. And people have said, oh, we're going to be cooking in that window. We're going to have all this money to spend. We can spend millions and millions of pounds, right? If we still make a loss, we make a loss. It doesn't matter what you can spend. The squad cost is based on the income minus your amortization plays, right? It doesn't matter how much cost we make, profit we make. If we make a loss, it doesn't help us. So right now, our situation in terms of the amount of money that we've got to spend, we still have to sell to buy. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. We still have to spend. We still have to sell to buy. The caveat next summer will be Casemiro's wages will go. Sancho's wages will go. Maguire's will go. So look, we will be saving quite a bit there. But right here and now, the only way that we can buy is we need to sell to buy. That's what I believe, that the figures are all there. It's going to get bandied around that we can spend 100 million, like 150 million. We're just not going to do that. I would like to see players who would really fit in and who would actually play. Can we finish in the Champions League next year? That's a good question. So Barrison, I don't know, mate. If we want to finish in the Champions League, we've got to do two things. We've got to do well in the next 8 games, and we've got to sign players. Look, they don't have to be the world's best players, but we need to sign players who are going to play. I'm sure I wouldn't lose sleep about Anderson not coming yet. Doris, the tea lady, needs some help, so Rashi can help her. Have I missed it about Rashford? Slinky Boss. So at the moment, it's been reported that Rashford isn't wanted by Barcelona. I think this is all to do with cost. Are we going to see him come back to the club? I don't know. I don't think so. I think this could be a ploy by them to get it at a cheaper price. But as it stands now, Rashford is coming back. As a United fans, we need to just face the facts. We are, if we're lucky, a top 8 club. And gone. I'm going to be honest. I've said that I predict between 8th and 10th this season. Let's see. We are the new Newcastle. We are the new Villa. Night stream. We are. I'm just about done though. Newcastle drew tonight. Only JB now we can start to get a tripod FC. Sell Sancho to the nearest nightclub. He can get a job as a barman. Does the fact that PSR has been phased out have a factor on our spending plan? Now, Liam, as we just said there, right, mate? Yes, in principle it does, because it means it just gives us more of like a headroom. But if we've made a loss, and don't forget we still have 500 million pounds of transfer spend that we still need to pay for, a loss is a loss. Like I would say this new squad cost will probably help more the likes of an Arsenal and a City right now whilst we're making a loss. If we spend any more money, it's debt because we don't have the money there. So yes, we may have on paper more of a headroom, but we're making a loss already. So unless we sell to buy, all we're going to be doing is adding more debt. That can be our name, the pro name, Tripod FC. Amazing. JB, we need to get you a PS5 so we can stop Pivot FC. Maybe. Let's see. They can say the bad penny always returns. JB in the pivot. Don't put me. I'm a winger. I'm a winger all day long. Chelsea blew a 5-0 lead tonight, and that's what we need there. Exactly. So look, guys, I'm going to go. 2 hours, absolutely ridiculous, but it never feels like that. It actually just feels like an hour or so. But look, guys, fantastic show. I did do an extra. This is an extra one tonight because I didn't do a stream last night. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow again. So I will be back tomorrow. I will. Well, Liam says, I only ask as we already have a huge accumulated debt, but we have the ability to pay it off with PSR's gone. And Liam, mate, and again, it's like we're on the same page, right? It's true, but it's going to be interesting how the squad cost comes into play, you know, and I will do some more research on it. But, you know, again, a loss is a loss, right? You know, we've got all this debt accumulated, and if we got, and look, it's really simple, right? If your company makes a loss, but you can spend more money, and you spend more money, you're buying it on debt. So our debt will increase. Have a good night, mate. Great stream as always. Thank you, Simon. Absolute legend, my friend. Do you think our team could even do anything in Europe in the next 24 months? Let's get a trophy first before crying about Europe. I think you make a good point. We need more donations so JB can get his PS5. I might get a PS5 and just you know, chill. But look, guys, go fund me page for JB. The JB to buy the man a PS5. I might get a PS5. So look, guys, amazing as always, guys. You're all legends of the chat. Thank you for being here with me for a minute, 2 minutes, an hour or two. So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow. You guys are legends of the chat. I can't thank you enough for supporting the channel, supporting me. You know, this channel is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single day, and it's all thanks to you guys. This is why I read out your chat. You know, I love the conversations that we have on here. We get all sorts of comments. So look, it is that Dino. Dino, I can be peer pressured in to doing stuff. So I might get one. You know. To be fair, the trainers behind me probably cost nearly as much as a PS5. Those trainers there probably cost me about the same much as a PS5. Not a full PS5, but probably a one without a disc. Oh yeah, Simon. Yeah, I nearly forgot to mention that. 27,000 subscribers. I mean, guys, that is unbelievable. Again, you know, 27k from zero is unbelievable. I can only thank you guys. And again, I think you should be really, really proud of that as well, because you guys built this community. 27 DJ is on here as well. Legend of the chat. Look, 27,000. Is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I can only thank you guys. Legend of the chat, and on we go to 28. On we go to try to get to, and if we get to 30,000, I will be giving away some retro shirts as well. So I'll be giving away 3 retro shirts. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get to 3,000, 30,000 soon. And no, it is, Simon. It is unbelievable, man. I never thought I would get anywhere near like 10. Never mind 27,000. I mean, look, you guys should congratulate yourselves as well, because this is about you. And I know everyone says it, but it's true. I mean, I don't bullshit on here. I know this channel doesn't happen without you guys. So this is as much as it is for you as it is for me. So guys, amazing stuff. So I will be back tomorrow. I will be doing a watch along on Thursday. You were here from 10,000, Scott. Legend. I will be back tomorrow night. As I say, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. I will be back tomorrow. You are so popular and always give a damn good stream, mate. Look, the word you guys say to me, it genuinely means a lot to me. So I can only thank you. Stephanie, the Welsh legend, says, good morning. It is the morning now, isn't it? Good morning. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. I'll be back tomorrow evening. I might be limping tomorrow evening. I might be limping because I'm playing a five-a-side tomorrow. I'll be in the pivot. I'm going to be the, I don't know, I might be the sort of anchor man. Dino, I'm going to have to insist on a pivot tomorrow. We're going to have to play, one at the back, pivot, so I'm going to be absolutely crap. So look, hopefully I don't smash up my leg, but I will be back tomorrow afternoon and then back tomorrow evening. Watch along on Thursday, and then it's the week over then, isn't it, really? So a limp along. I don't know how I didn't come up with that. See, Stephanie, this is why you are a legend. A limp along. So I'll be doing a limp along tomorrow night. Hopefully you can be there for that. Show them how it's done. Oh, Dino, mate, it's going to be like Pele. It's going to be like Messi. It's going to be Cristiano rolled into one, mate. And it's going to be the JB pivot ball. So, but guys, you see, as anyone else complained, we have to search for my fave channels. UDC's actually very... We have to search for my fave channels. I don't know, mate. I think currently YouTube is doing some weird shit. I genuinely believe it is out to get my channel because it does some weird stuff. I don't know. We will have a good stream when we beat Westham. Exactly. So look, I will be back tomorrow, guys. It's bedtime. I'm tired. Long day today, but look, you guys are legends. 27,000, absolute legend, absolutely legendary, guys. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day, your morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am JB, and of course I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.